She believed she could play the victim, ride out the scandal, and eventually win Papoose back, but guess what? He moved on to world champion boxer Claressa. Remy Ma just learned a hard lesson. Once you make a big mistake, there's no turning back. Shields, and he's now content and at peace. Claressa isn't the kind to watch the drama play out as Remy frantically tries to regain what she lost. And she's doing it by using the oldest trick in the book. Sending flirtatious, suggestive pictures in the hopes of getting a response. Just made Remy's desperate attempt public. The question is, was Remy's alleged error a calculated risk that backfired, or did she mistakenly think that Papoose would always be there waiting in the wings? If so, she realized too late that she had played herself because, let's face it, watching. It must hurt that your ex upgraded to a strong, accomplished woman like Claressa. Even though Remy never imagined herself in this situation, she is doing every possible tactic to get Papoose, the man who supported her through everything, to go on with someone who not only equals his energy, but also elevates him. Booked to get his attention just to be exposed and humiliated in the process. But let's take a moment to look back in time and examine how we arrived at this point years ago. While Remy was imprisoned, Papoose was the epitome of loyalty. He held her down, argued for her release, and demonstrated his commitment to the world. Everyone admired his unwavering support of her, and when she eventually left, it was expected that they would continue to be hip-hop's power couple, stronger than before. However, when it first came to light that she had cheated on Papoose with Easy the Block, Remy had other ideas. Many captains didn't believe it because, after all, why would she risk losing a man who had repeatedly shown that he was in it for the long run? However, as more information became available, the truth became clear, and worse, she didn't even appear to regret it, at least not initially. Remy's attitude in the wake of the scandal was telling. She denied everything, laughed off the charges, and carried on with her life as usual instead of expressing regret. Perhaps she believed Papoose was so devoted to her that he would never go. Or perhaps she imagined that he would stand by her as previously. She underestimated him though, and instead of staying to play raise games, Papoose did what no one anticipated: he left. In addition to upgrading, Papoose's departure wasn't the real dagger to Remy. Rather, it was who he left behind. Claressa Shields isn't just any woman. She's a world champion, a record-breaking athlete, and a woman who is totally out of her league. She is self-assured, accomplished, and not one to put up with bullshit. The internet knew Remy's relationship was gone the moment Tapo and Claressa began appearing together in public, and that's when the envy began to flare. Since, let's face it, Remy probably wouldn't have given a damn if Papoose had dated someone obscure or unimpressive, but the fact that he's with a woman who's doing well, winning titles, and receiving international recognition is a hole he's filled with no lengthy responses, drama, or drawn-out back and simply silence, and that silence speaks louder than any argument he could have had with her. However, Remy being Remy, she chose to double down because she knew that if she couldn't get a response from Papoose directly, she would cause enough drama for him to have no other option but to recognize her, which is precisely what she did. A few days after Claressa exposed her, all of these old sources appeared out of nowhere, revealing fresh accusations about Papoose and his alleged dubious prior claims that he wasn't as faithful as he appeared to be, and that he had his own. If you have followed celebrity drama for any length of time, you are already aware that this is classic damage control. When someone is caught looking bad, what is the simplest way to divert attention and make the other person look bad? skeletons that perhaps he wasn't the ideal husband after all. However, the issue was that nobody believed it because Papoose had spent years establishing his reputation on loyalty. He has never been involved in a real cheating scandal or been involved in any messy relationship drama. And he is one of the few men in the industry who has been constantly commended for his treatment of women. So the notion that suddenly, now that he's content with Clarissa, all these outrageous accusations are surfacing is too convenient and calculated, and the fans saw right through it. If anything, this small stunt only made Ray appear worse, because now instead of just, there is a significant difference between the bitter woman who lost a good man and the woman who lost a decent man. Clarissa isn't letting up in the interim. She has made it plain that she isn't here to play games with Remy. If Remy believed she could simply prod the bear and get away with it, she was gravely misguided. Let's talk about how this is hurting Remy's reputation, since she has spent years trying to establish herself as a strong, independent, non-nonsense woman who doesn't chase after men. Clarissa isn't just stopping Remy's antics, she's making fun of her for even trying. After men who don't get sucked into petty drama, everything she's doing at the moment contradicts all of that, because what's more embarrassing than sending desperate pictures to someone who has already moved on? And what's weaker than making fun of the man you cheated on? Her fans have turned against her. As more people realize that Ray isn't only upset but also bitter, the support she previously had is disintegrating. While exes never win, Papoose and Clarissa are prospering out here. Papoose is reacting to the commotion, Clarissa isn't giving up, and the two of them are making bolder moves than before. That's the part that really enrages Remy, because she's running out of alternatives at this point, and her attempts to stir things up to generate drama in an attempt to get Papoose back into her orbit aren't working. Remy Ma is aware that she is in a tight spot, and is making every effort to create drama in order to. What's next for Remy? Let's face it, she's not the kind to just sit back and accept defeat if history is any indication. Papoose's attention and every cunning move she's made have been met with either silence or complete exposure, and nothing hurts more than realizing you no longer have control over the narrative. It's that when people are desperate, they start making even bigger mistakes, and Remy has already made a lot of mistakes. According to insiders close to the situation, Remy is angry at how this has turned out because she believed she could control the situation and possibly even play the victim if things got out of hand. Too much, but instead she's been fully exposed, and worse, Papoose hasn't replied. She feels like silence is killing her because for years, Papoose was her safe haven. No matter what happened or how much time went by, she always knew he would be there. The upper hand, but that's gone now, and she never expected to see him move on, not just with anyone, but with a woman like Clarissa, because, let's face it, Ray didn't just lose a good man. She lost a unique man who supported her through her darkest moments and put his career on hold. Make sure she was the one who remained faithful despite all the reasons life gave him not to. And now he's finally showing that love, loyalty, and enthusiasm to another lady. What's really pushing Remy over the brink is a lady who doesn't take him for granted and who truly deserves it. Since Papoose is a powerful woman who has built her own empire and is dominating her field, she doesn't need Papoose to validate her, which is precisely why their relationship ended. Let's face it, if Papoose had moved on with just anyone, she might have still had a chance to manipulate her way back in. The relationship is so strong, so what's left for Remy to succeed now that all of her attempts to get his attention have failed? We've already seen her try to use the media to spread unfavorable stories about Papoose, but it didn't work. She also tried cunning strategies like sending suggestive pictures, but they didn't work either. According to reports, she may be using their past as a weapon in preparation for something even more drastic. Remy may start talking about the relationship in a way that portrays her as the victim, implying that she is having personal problems, regretting them, or even changing the past to suit her own needs. Appeared to be the run party because, in situations where all other options have been exhausted, playing the sympathy card is the last resort for some people. The issue is that Remy doesn't resemble the victim in this case. She betrayed him and betrayed the trust. She was the one who believed that Papoose would always be there, and now that he has moved on, fans of hers who once supported her are beginning to realize that she isn't heartbroken. Rather, she is merely bitter. And the more she attempts to bring herself into the spotlight, the more people on the internet are criticizing her for her actions. In the meantime, Papoose's new life makes her appear worse. Claressa and Papoose are still doing well. Papoose is securing new commercial agreements. Nothing aggravates an ex more than witnessing you truly happy without them, but whatever. Claressa is thriving in her work, and more importantly, their content. One thing is certain, will Remy eventually acknowledge that she lost a true love interest? Will she retreat and concentrate on repairing her reputation, or will she continue to dig herself farther into a hole from which she may never emerge? Papoose isn't turning around. Clara isn't going to back down, and no amount of drama or... Since Papoose has already moved on and manipulation and desperate measures won't change that, Remy Ma is ultimately learning a hard lesson. When you have something real, you don't take it for granted because once it's gone forever. What do you think Remy will finally allow? Do you think Papoose and Claressa will react to this, or will they keep ignoring the doctor drama? Or is she going to escalate things further? Please leave a comment below with your ideas, and remember to like, share, and subscribe. For more details about the newest celebrity drama, pay attention, as this tale is far from finished.